morning, everyone. This is Councilman Sal DeCiccio, and I want to thank everyone for being here this morning. I've got to tell you, it's very unusual for me, at least, to be able to do this, via electronically rather than in person. It's the first one I think we've done this way. I think this is probably the new world that we live in today, but I think it's one of these things that we've just got to deal with and figure out how to work with it, which is the best way to serve the public. We're going to be talking about the budget this morning. We're here to listen to your positions and your thoughts and what you would like to see in the budget. The budget is quite expansive. It covers quite a bit, but there is one aspect of that I'd like to just start off with and talk about, and that deals with public safety and primarily police. The police department has been just vilified these last couple of years, something to which I've never seen before. For those of you that are listening, some of our police department, at some of these meetings, we had 187 individuals call our police officers murderers, rapists. They've gone after their families. It's just something that I've never seen before or would have expected from a civilized society where you treat those that protect you in a way that they deserve, and they don't deserve this. Their families have been attacked, their children have been attacked at school because because they've got a member in the police department. And from my end, I think it's completely unacceptable what's occurred. The good news is that as other cities across the country are defunding and looking at defunding their police departments, like Portland, Minneapolis, Seattle, New York City, Los Angeles, Phoenix is actually going to be adding more to our police budget this year, about $37 million more approximately, and $30 million of that is going to go to long-deserved pay raises, merit and longevity, and pay raises for our police department, because that's what will tell them that we do respect them. I wish the rhetoric would stop on these attacks. Should we have oversight over a policing function? Absolutely, because that is the most important thing that we as citizens give our government, are the ability to police, right? Whether it's the judicial, whether it's the ability to take someone's property, to arrest, to do all that. We give up those powers, and those powers deserve oversight. But what's occurring now is beyond that. It's beyond disgusting what's happening to these police officers that are out there protecting us. So I'm glad to see in our budget we're going to be adding a considerable amount of money. It deserves to be higher. They deserve a higher pay raise than what they're getting, but at least they're getting something when you look at the nature of what's occurring across the country. Matt, I'm going to turn it back over to you, but I want to thank everyone for being here this morning.
Councilman DeCiccio, thank you for those comments. I want to first and foremost welcome everyone to today's hearing. This is the second of our 14 virtual community budget hearings that we'll be hosting this year to introduce the 21-22 trial budget. As you know, this feedback that we received today and throughout this virtual hearing process is extremely important to us as we try to formulate and come up with a final adopted budget that Council will approve later in June. For those that aren't able to attend, these hearings will be taped and rebroadcast on our YouTube channel. For those of you who do not call in today but wish to submit comments, you can do that at budget.research@Phoenix.gov. You can also go to the Budget and Research website on Phoenix.gov and find additional information about this budget and other ways for you to participate, which also include our Fund Phoenix tool, which allows you to kind of come up with your own version of the budget, as well as we've loaded the trial budget document into the Fund Phoenix tool, which gives residents an opportunity to tell us which items that are proposed that they're really passionate about, as well as giving them a little bit of flexibility to come up with their own trial budget. Before we begin the hearing and show the video, I'm going to introduce our interpreter, Mario Barajas.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mario Barajas, and together with my colleague, Elsie Duarte, we're going to be serving as Spanish interpreters for today's virtual budget audience. We ask as a favor, if you will be providing a public comment, please try to speak slowly and clearly. That way we can interpret what you're saying as completely as possible. Thank you. Now, to avoid confusion, I will not provide instructions on how to access the hearing in English. You're going to be dialing 602 from your telephone, 666-0783, and then enter the meeting ID 187-130-3084 pound. Press pound again when prompted for the attendee ID. Now I'm going to take this time now to introduce ourselves to our Spanish-speaking audience. Muy buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Mario Barajas y junto con mi colega Elsie Duarte estaremos sirviéndoles como intérpretes para la audiencia de presupuesto virtual de hoy. Les pedimos como favor, si es que va a estar dando un comentario público, hable despacio y deténgase después de cada pocas oraciones para que podamos interpretar lo que esté diciendo de la manera más completa posible. Muchísimas gracias. Ahora les voy a indicar cómo acceder a la audiencia por teléfono en español, si es que no lo ha hecho todavía. Va a estar marcando el número 602-666-0783. Introduzca el número de identificación o ID de la reunión, que viene siendo 187-112-2470 pound, o sea, el signo de número. Y luego, finalmente, va a introducir nuevamente el signo pound o el signo de número. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you, Ed.
Gracias, Mario. Thank you, Mario. So now we'll move on to our video. Once the video is concluded, we will move on to our public comments, which will be introduced by Matt Heil. Again, this video does not highlight everything that's in the budget. It highlights the things that we're super excited about and the things that we think are extremely important to the community. If we were to try to show the entirety of what's proposed, we'd be here for quite a while. But again, if you want more information, please visit Phoenix.gov/budget. And again, for those that want to comment, you can comment via this way virtually, or you can comment again through budget.research@Phoenix.gov. Send an email that way. We make sure that all of the comments from today's hearing, as well as all future hearings, will be transcribed into minutes that are posted in the council agenda packet each Thursday. And those comments are then tabulated for our council as they struggle and wrestle with their decision about how to move forward in the budget process. So with that, I'll ask Matt to cue the video.
Next, we'll show a brief video highlighting what's proposed in the 2021-22 trial budget.
The City of Phoenix trial budget for fiscal year 2021-22, proposed by the Phoenix City Manager, is ready for public review and comment. The goal of this trial budget is to identify programs and services that build a better, more inclusive city for all.
Phoenix has a long history of public budgeting, giving the community a voice in the future of our city by starting the public involvement much earlier than required. This year, due to the pandemic, public involvement will be virtual, but our goal is that we will provide even more opportunities for you to share your feedback.
We'll host virtual budget community hearings between April 2nd and April 20th in both English and Spanish by council district and citywide for youth and for seniors. And this year, we've launched the Fund Phoenix tool, an interactive way to share what's important to you when it comes to city programs and services.
The law requires the city's budget to be balanced each year. And this year, we are happy to report a projected budget surplus of $153 million, made up of $98 million in one-time funds and $55 million in ongoing funding. This is thanks to Phoenix's continued strong economy and sound leadership by the mayor and city council, and the city's strategic use of data to direct our efforts during the pandemic.
City employees have stood on the front lines of the pandemic more than a year and counting to provide critical services and support to our residents and customers. Approximately 77% of the surplus in the 2021-22 trial budget is allocated to employee compensation to continue to retain and recruit top talent, to provide the level of service our customers rely on to stay safe, healthy, and connected.
$35 million is allocated to address important needs raised by the council and the community across 6 areas. Focus Area 1, public safety reform and responsiveness. More accountability, responsiveness, transparency, and trust is demanded from public safety programs. In this budget proposal, the city expands an already successful fire department program where trained mental health experts respond to 911 callers needing crisis health services. The expansion of the Community Assistance Program follows community and council requests for innovative ways to respond to crisis calls for service with mental health professionals rather than police officers. This not only strengthens health outcomes, but frees up police officers and firefighters to focus on public safety calls, reducing response times for our community. In addition, the budget adds other important public safety reforms by adding additional 911 operators, reducing wait time for police public records, improving police officer accountability through an improved human resource management system, and more comprehensive reporting of crime data.
Focus Area 2, COVID response and resiliency. The city's navigated the COVID pandemic well, protecting employees and the community because we have relied on data and contracted public health experts to inform our efforts. We transitioned City Hall to an appointment-only model. We also pivoted our programs and services to support the community in need of Wi-Fi connectivity and access to emergency food support and virtual and curbside library services, requiring additional staffing and technology enhancements. Funding's required to continue these efforts through the pandemic.
Focus Area 3, Climate Change and Heat Readiness. Climate change and the record-breaking heat in Phoenix call for investment in strategies to address the negative impacts on our residents, particularly our most vulnerable, including seniors and those in poverty and experiencing homelessness. The trial budget includes a new Office of Heat Response and Mitigation to focus these efforts, the addition of staff to plant and maintain trees, and advance the city's Cool Corridors program, all to meet the goals of the Tree and Shade Master Plan to double the tree canopy by 2030 and reduce the impact of heat.
Focus Area 4, affordable housing and homelessness. The city has a lack of affordable housing and more people experiencing homelessness than ever before. The City Council approved a Housing Phoenix plan and a Homeless Strategies plan to find solutions to identify funding to increase and improve affordable housing units, and to leverage federal funding and work with community partners to help those experiencing homelessness. Funding will provide staffing and programs to foster affordable housing developments on city-owned land and ensure the safety and security of those experiencing homelessness and the impacted neighborhoods and businesses.
Focus Area 5, Building Community and Responding to Growth. There continues to be a great need to connect underserved communities to the economic benefits of our city's continued growth. We will fund programs and services that foster equitable education and recreation opportunities for youth and special needs populations, including the Phoenix Public Library's College Depot, Clean and Safe Neighborhoods, and support for homegrown small businesses. Funding will support the growing needs at city parks and recreation centers, including the new Cesar Chavez Community Center, scheduled to open in the fall of 2021, Margaret T. Hance Park in downtown Phoenix, and Dean Hills Recreation Area in North Phoenix, as well as the successful Inclusive Recreation Program for residents with special needs. We also propose an increase in funding for arts and historic preservation grants.
Focus Area 6, administrative accountability. The city must continue to foster a diverse, equitable, and inclusive environment to live and work for residents and employees. To succeed, we propose to create the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We'll also invest in technologies to support data-driven decision-making across city departments and to protect the city's IT systems from cybersecurity threats. Enhance election processes to increase engagement in city elections and connect residents to library and park services.
This has been just a taste of what you will find in the 2021-2022 City of Phoenix trial budget. We hope that you'll review additional details in the budget available online at Phoenix.gov/budget.
Please share your feedback in whatever way works best for you at one of our 14 community budget hearings or by email at budget.research@phoenix.gov. Through our Fund Phoenix interactive tool, you can comment on the city's social media at City of Phoenix AZ on Facebook or Twitter and use the hashtag #PhoenixBudget. Or call us at 602-262-4800. The city manager will present his proposed budget for 2021-22 to the Phoenix City Council on May 4th, 2021. The council's budget decision will take place on May 18th, 2021. Both meetings will be streamed online and on Phoenix TV. Thank you for being part of this important process. We look forward to hearing your ideas for this year's trial budget and the future of Phoenix.
And with the conclusion of that video, I'll be calling on our speakers who are signed up. Before I begin, I wanted to read a brief statement about conduct during public comment. Members of the public will have the opportunity to speak for up to 2 minutes on budget issues of interest or concern to them. Speakers must present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language and personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. A person who violates these rules can lose their opportunity to continue to speak. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the City Council to listen to the comments, but prohibits council members from discussing or acting on the matters presented. And with that, our first speaker is Ann Ender. Ann, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Barton, I just wanted to thank you also for the time as well as just an excellent budget. I think that it really focuses in on the services and, as was stated, inclusiveness that we need in our city. But as a neighborhood leader and a citizen, quality of life is top of mind, and I really believe this budget achieves that. The focus on climate change is very important, as evidenced by our 90s plus temperature already. The neighborhood association I'm involved in prioritizes our tree canopy that provides a corridor of about 10 degrees cooler. But closest to my heart are the allocations for public safety. I think that you listened to what has been said, even though it was difficult to hear over the past year. But you listened, and I think you really put allocations towards transparency and also into our community. The community assistance program, I can attest to, is a really powerful program. My son's friend committed suicide in a public area, and I could not have thanked them enough for the way they handled that situation. But we do still need our police officers involved in some of those situations because they're crime scenes. But I do believe that you really, again, have focused in on what the public's been asking for, and that these allocations will free up our police department to continue to do the great job that they do. So thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Colin Tetreault. Colin, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Colin, please proceed.
Good day, Councilman DeCiccio, Mr. Barton, and staff. I am a proud City of Phoenix District 6 resident. I am present to speak in favor and support of the creation of an Office of Heat Response and Mitigation. This integrated approach will address the very real situations that are facing Phoenix. Urban heat island issues and the associated strategies to address it, as will be executed by this office, are of critical importance for our shared future. With the average temperatures rising in Phoenix, it is now a precondition of economic development and existing enterprise success that a region not only understands, but acts about its sustainability issues and capitalizes upon those opportunities. This office will ensure that Phoenix remains competitive now and into the future. not just for out-of-market issues, but also to foster and cultivate a spirit of innovation, entrepreneurship, and success that we all value. Further, and more significantly, rapidly addressing our urban heat island and tree and shade issue is a matter of equity and health, most pointedly for underserved and minority communities. Access to shade, green spaces, and fundamental thermal comfort are not an option, but a fundamental component of how Phoenix should value all of its residents. Mr. DeCiccio, Mr. Barton, staff, thank you for your consideration of my input and my comments. That concludes my comments.
It's, Matt and Colin, thank you for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. I really do appreciate the work you're doing. You and I have even had this conversation many years ago. I've had it with the water department. I said, look, what's happening, especially those individuals that are poor, they don't have the availability of trees, and they don't have the ability to have the same things that others have in their communities. And I think the city recognized that this year. I believe we're actually doing something about it, and I'm fully supportive of the program. I like the idea of planting more trees, planting more greenery, reducing the heat island in the city of Phoenix. But Colin, I'd like you to also take a look at an email Sam sent you this morning. The one concern that we had was that by creating an not overzealous, I guess that's the wrong word, but a huge bureaucracy here, we're going to increase the cost of planting the trees. We were spending, and Sam did the analysis, and we talked about it earlier today too. We were spending about between $250 and possibly $300 a tree to plant. The cost now today, if you add in all the overhead, is about $833 a tree, which means that we could have planted another 2 to 3 times more trees and provided more services to the public. So I know you're very aware of this, because I know you are, because I know your nature. But we've got to figure out a way to reduce the cost to be able to maximize the amount of trees you want to plant. Otherwise, it just becomes nothing more than a government bureaucratic problem that could have literally solved and helped a lot of other individuals. So if you just take a look at that, look at what he sent you this morning. I'm sure you didn't get a chance to do that. I didn't know you were going to be on the line, and I'm glad you are. But really take a hard look at this, because we could do a lot better. Thank you. Go ahead, Matt.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Linda Abeg. Linda, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Please proceed.
I appreciate your time today. Thank you. Good morning, and I also would like to echo the congratulations on a great budget. I'm excited that we are in this positive financial situation where we can look at what our city needs, and I support the mental health units. I support this heat mitigation. I would like to bring up, as we talk about underserved areas and without the green spaces, I'm in District 8 down in Levine, and according to the general plan, land was purchased for parks before the recession, and those parks have still not been developed. So we're very short on parks. I personally live by the one at 55th Avenue in Samantha, where there are no parks within 3 miles of that area. And the neighborhoods, all this farmland is being replaced by neighborhoods that zoning only requires 5% open space. We even have a developer coming in wanting to do underground retention, while retention basins are pretty much the only green space that we're getting right now. We've even talked to the school district, the Levine Elementary School District, and they are willing to do an IGA that would bring the overhead costs down by about a quarter from what the city would charge, so that we could have this park and have it cost less to the taxpayers. So I would ask that you consider putting into the budget the maintenance for these parks in our area that is rapidly losing green space and needs more of it. And this park at 55th and Samantha is great in that it's near 3,000 students with these 2 schools. It's near the new freeway corridor. It would get a lot of use, and we have this opportunity to get it for less overhead. So please consider adding that green space back into Levine. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ramon Gomez. Ramon, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes. Good morning to all. Thank you for having me. I'm also in Levine District 8, and I just want to echo Linda's comments. I personally live right across from this area that needs a park on Samantha Way and 55th Avenue. Right now, that is the eyesore of the community. So when I bought my house here 5 years ago, this was the last development in the Paseo Point community. And they told me they're going to build a school, the 202, and a park. So I'm thinking, wow, great, so more amenities for me. It's been 6 years and that park has yet to be built. Like Linda explained, with the 202 corridor has brought many more people. They're building south of Dobbins, Hiley. All those farmlands are pretty much all sold. And that would be of great use. 2 weekends ago, Paseo Point Elementary had a 60 play. They have a small field where it was crowded with kids. And I think if that park would have been open, it would have helped them extend those services to the community into that park and be less crowded. So I think that would be a great addition. It's a fraction of the budget from what the city has available. So please consider it, and thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Karen Buckman. Karen, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Please proceed.
Hi, good morning. I'm also here talking about the park at 55th Avenue and Samantha Way. I live right across from the park that we've been waiting for. So it's been waiting for 14 years. Everyone understood the downturn and why the park wasn't being built then. We all think that now is the time. The concern also is that when the community was built, there was requirement for a landscaped area and green area, and the city park was part of what went into that requirement for the builder to be able to do the development, because that all had to be approved. And so now basically it's out of compliance with what I understand for a green space for the area. So we would like to bring it back into compliance, get those trees in and plants. But I also am concerned that it needs to be well thought out so that it doesn't end up with trouble rather than a total benefit for the area. Since I live right across the street, there's concerns about parking along the streets for the residents that are right across from the park. So, so there needs to be some thought put into what goes in.
And our next speaker is Christy Bersaw. Christy, are you on the line? Christy, we cannot hear you. Oh, now we can. Thank you. Please proceed. Christy, it seems like we've lost your audio again. Could you try one more time?
Oh.
One second while I check.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
I'm
yes,
sorry.
yes, I can. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. First time doing this. Okay, yes, my name is Christy Bursa, and I'm also here in support of the park on Samantha Way to be approved into the budget and developed. There's no park within 3 miles of this area, so we find ourselves, and me and my family, driving to, to different parks within the area. It would be nice to have a place to where we could hop on our bikes and ride over to a little neighborhood park that was developed by the city. There are 2 schools with many students and so many families and houses in the area. And we just feel like this would be a really good opportunity since there is a surplus in the budget and our neighborhood deserves a park developed in our community. But with that being said, we have a very close community over here, and we would really appreciate if you could make the Samantha Way Park a reality for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and that was our last speaker. I also wanted to note that we received 3 e-comments online as part of today's budget hearing.
So, Councilman DeCiccio, if you'd like to make any closing comments.
Yep. No, this is, I think I said it all at the beginning, and I do appreciate everyone taking the time. It's very unusual the way we're handling it right now through virtual, but like I said, these are just unusual times for sure. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the staff that put the presentation together, the staff that's there today. They've done an amazing job. Jeff Barton is by far the best budget director we've ever had. I should have acknowledged him at the beginning because he's so good. His numbers, I've never seen come in that close. You don't even see that anywhere, private sector, government sector, anywhere else where they come in that close. Matter of fact, I would go back even a couple of years where Jeff came up with a projection. He was off by 0.3%. And there were a couple of people complaining about it. I'm like, do you not realize that is as close to perfect as anyone could ever get? But it's amazing. But thank you, everyone, for being here, and we'll conclude the meeting.
Thank you, Councilman DeCiccio, and thank you for all of those that are in attendance. And again, I just remind everyone that we have 12 more hearings through April 20th. And if you do want to comment but don't want to participate in the virtual fashion, you can send an email to budget.research@Phoenix.gov. Thank you.